Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a lovely 200-piece limited edition in stainless steel launched for the 2020 model year. This is the Parmigiani Fleurier Tondagraph GT, designed in the style of the Tonda collection, but massaged by noted watch designer Dino Modolo. This is a timepiece that offers Parmigiani's riposte to the integrated bracelet sports watch craze. They're doing things their way, inside and out. So let's take a quick look. In stainless steel, the watch is 42 millimeters in diameter. It measures a reasonable 14 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, the case by itself is 48.5 millimeters, but if we include the outermost rigid link, so the total distance across the wrist, then the total distance across the wrist is a beefier 51 millimeters. Now, I'm going to recommend you consider this more of an alternative to something like a Patek Philippe 5990, a 42.5 millimeter Vacheron overseas chronograph, or a 42 millimeter Royal Oak offshore, because while it's not as thick as some of those, and it's not as bulky aesthetically, it is a large watch, and it wears large. So I would recommend you have a wrist of at least my size, 16 centimeters circumference, to wear this ideally. Again, there's just not a lot of compressibility built into the edges of that bracelet. So if your wrist is too far inboard of those curves, it's going to move around a lot and it's probably going to overlap. So that's over the top, that's down the barrel, and then that's the cuff shot. You can see the cuff shot's actually quite encouraging. With a stepped case flank and a sloped bezel, the watch actually slides underneath a dress cuff better than you would think. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, I should mention Dino Modolo has designed for many brands and many model lines in the industry. But along with Vincent Kaufman, he's most famous for creating the 1996 Vacheron Constantin Overseas. So the designer of this watch is deeply steeped in the traditions of integrated bracelet sports. Now, Parmigiani is haute horlogerie, so there's a lot of fine detailing here. You can see there's a fully integrated bracelet. They make their cases, they make their clasps, they make their bracelets inside of the Parmigiani group, so everything is designed to go together. You'll appreciate that there's a nice taper down from the integrated end link, a combination of satin and polish, and in particular, the diminishing satin intermediate links inside are quite attractive. You can also see that there's plenty of gaps between the links to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat. Now you can see that screws are used for removable links, and the actual cross sections are pretty small, so you should be able to get the right size. You can see on each side there's a 1/2 sized link for fine-tuning the fit. And then we have a twin trigger release double folding clasp that is non-sequential close. You can see it says Parmigiani Fleurier, and the end links flanking the split are satinated, which is nice attention to detail. You can see that the alternating satin and polish links continue all the way around the bottom of the bracelet, so the attention to detail is strong. Now you have the Tonda style modular teardrop lugs, and they're nicely done. They're handsomely integrated into the case form. They do step out a little bit in the mid case, which relieves the watch of what would otherwise be sort of a generic integrated bracelet shape. There's real organic beauty here and a lot of distinctive Parmigiani elements, from the Tonda style teardrop lugs to the Toric style coined bezel. And then we have a guilloche triangulaire. It is a sort of triangular cut, not quite a clou de Paris, but it has that basic ambiance and feel. We have slightly shouldered chronograph pushers, which are teardrops to match the lug profile. And then we have a nicely studded, sharply knurled Parmigiani branded crown. It's a screw down. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. We have a stepped track outboard for reading seconds and fractions of seconds, as well as minutes. And you can see inboard of that stepped track, there's a little sort of a concentric grooved pattern framing that triangular center. There are little registers for chronograph minutes, chronograph hours, running seconds, and if you look carefully, you can see that there's actually a annual calendar system. So we have a double-digit date at 12 o'clock, and then we have a month indicator. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is a Dubois de Praz system, because I've seen the same complication on many DD modular chronograph annual calendars. But because it is an annual calendar, you only need to adjust it once a year during the jump from February to March. Now, if you were to relieve that screw down crown, you would find it has both a stop seconds function, and it has, so you can stop the seconds if you want to set them to a reference time. And the watch also has a quick set function, so you can rapidly set that annual calendar. And again, annual calendar, you only need to adjust it once a year during the jump from February to March. The watch has a wonderful feel and a crispness. It is a vertical clutch chronograph, so you can see that when I start it up, There's no extraneous motion of the chronograph seconds hand. It's completely seamless. Now, the watch does feature a set of fascinating faceted and inset indices. So you can see that there are contrasting facets on these metallic indices, which have black cores, and then we have polished delta-style hands at center, which are themselves cored out and skeletonized. And if you look at how the dials actually assemble, these indices actually eat into the concentric track on the border of the dial. Now, just so there's absolutely no confusion here, the watch has some lume, but very, very little. This is the black variant of Superluminova, which is basically not there. Now, turning it all over, you can see the Parmigiani manufacturer caliber PF043. So the base movement is an automatic winder with a power reserve of 45 hours. It beats away at 8 beats per second, so it's 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 56 joules. And the two barrels don't give it an exceptionally long power reserve, but they do give it an exceptionally regular torque release, so it doesn't lose a lot of amplitude after, for example, 24 hours like a conventional single barrel movement would. Now you can see that the balance is also free sprung for precise adjustment and durability against shock. And then you can see, because Vaucher manufacturer, which builds this movement, is one of the Parmigiani family of companies, you can see there is a Vaucher star on the base plate. You'll see that same Vaucher star on the base plate of Richard Mille RM11s, and frankly, the RM11 has a lot in common mechanically with this watch, from the module to the base caliber. Oh, and because it is Parmigiani, and again, I mentioned Parmigiani is haute horlogerie, the finishing is quite attractive, in particular the Côte de Soleil that radiates out across the bridges from an imaginary center point atop the balance. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.